whirling dervishes have become a trademark of present-day Turkey. But until a few decades ago, the Mevlevi tradition was at risk of disappearing. One man has helped keep the Sufi rituals alive. His name is Kudsi Erguner, and he plays the ney.
بیشنو این نی چون حکایت میکند از جدایی ها شکایت میکند. Listen to the ney. He is telling a story of the separation.
These verses, composed by Celaleddin Rumi, the 13th century founder of the Mevlevi Sufi order in Konya, Turkey, have inspired both the holy and the profane Ottoman classical music for centuries. The ney, a reed flute played since the Sumerians in 5000 BC, is at the heart of Turkish Muslim Sufi traditions. Its hollow sound paves the way for Sema, the ceremony of the whirling dervishes.
Why the ney? Because ney is a metaphoric instrument between the human being and the piece of reed. Because if the inside of the reed is not cleaned up, it doesn't make any sound. It's like the fire of love should be a solution to clear up the human being and open him to a higher inspiration.
Kudsi Erguner is a Turkish ney player. Born in Diyarbakir in 1952, he comes from a family of musicians. He learned to play from his father and grandfather. During his youth, Kudsi lived through Turkey's push for modernization that led the country to rebuke its Ottoman traditions, including its classical music.
With the Republic, we just cut off the part of the Oriental part of it. We just decide that the fact to have any relation with the tradition should become a handicap to the progress. So I was lucky to grow up in a family which was related with this tradition, because otherwise myself also, as many of my generation, I wouldn't be interested with all this.
Kudsi is also a Sufi, follower of the preaching of Celaleddin Rumi. The Mevlevi order was closed down in 1925, and practicing the Sema, the whirling dervishes ceremony, was forbidden during Erguner's youth. It took a trip to Europe organized by UNESCO in the late 1960s to rediscover an ancient tradition that was disappearing.
In these early meetings, the Western culture was discovering something. And suddenly you come from a country you are completely abandoned. We don't want you in the cultural panorama, and then you go to another country, people, they admire you because you belong to this tradition. So it was something extraordinary for me. I understood that we have to pass through the mirror of Europe to find ourselves, to see ourselves.
From then on, Kudsi Erguner embarked on a personal journey to safeguard and promote Sufi traditions. He moved to Paris, France in the 1970s and led the revival of classical Ottoman music and Mevlevi sounds. During his career, he played with musicians from different genres and cultures with the aim of building bridges between his centuries-old musical tradition and the present.
For me, religions, arts, they have to be not in the past, not in the future, but in the present time. When I say present time, is not only the modernity, but the musician has to be present when he plays something. He has to live what he's playing. So yes, if you have the attitude of a conservatory man, you are just conserving the past. It doesn't interest me.
A lot has changed since Kudsi's youth. Sufism and the whirling dervishes have become a trademark of present-day Turkey. While attracting hordes of tourists, they are at risk of losing their deep original religious meaning. Viewers should be aware that they are witnessing much more than an exhibition.
Sama, which is the name of this ceremony, means listening. So we listen to music and we share the joy, deep joy and ecstasy who comes from the music. When you lose the deep sense of something, it remains on the rituals. But I defend one thing, which there is a huge cultural heritage on the music, on literature, on thinking, on theology, and all this material has to be explored, and they can be useful not for to the Muslim world, but also to the humanity.